Oh, sorry, that's for a Democrat show.
Let me know when you're ready.
Was an extremely great conservative commentator. We're tearing it up on Wednesday night. This is awesome. This
will allow me to retort.
Well, this is Jersey Joe for the Reaver Common Sense Show. I'm on shrmedia.com.
Actually, I just totally screwed up. This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded. That's right, we have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday. 9 had, what was it? The school shut down pretty much. Well, and it wasn't shut down, but they told the parents that it was an excused absence for the kids to stay home that day. So, of course, my daughter, who always wants to go to school, was actually, I'd like a day off. I was like, all right, cool, stay home. My wife was a little perturbed. She should go to school. You know, that happens. Yeah. Gotta give her a break here and there. So on Friday, I had so much technical difficulties it wasn't funny. I have pretty much got all of them fixed. And, you know, I'm looking at the broadcast and it's looking good. It's looking really good. I think, therefore, I am. And, oops, I gotta fix one last little thing. And that should do it. There we go. That should fix everything. And, one of the things I want to talk about, Steve Bannon has left the White House. He's resigned from the White House. And everybody's like, oh my God, that's the end of his presidency. You know, just everything negative, negative, negative. I don't think it's negative. I do not think it is negative. Why? Steve Bannon. Oh, come on. Check. God damn it. Check. Goddamn board. You know, everything's going along good and right down. There we go. I'm sorry about this. You know, you start to brag that everything's going good and then it all goes to crap. It just goes down the toilet. Supposed to be in the White House. He had to keep a lot of his comments in check. He could.
Without victory. Nowhere is this more evident in the Oval Office. In other words, over many months, we held our final meeting last Friday at Camp. Our nation must seek an honorable and enduring outcome worthy of the tremendous sacrifices that have been made. This attack in our history was planned on the 11th. And as we know, in 2011, America hastily and mistakenly keep them from crossing our borders. And yes, we will defeat them, and we will defeat them handily. In Afghanistan and Pakistan, America's interests are clear. We must stop the resurgence of safe havens that enable terrorists to threaten America. And we must prevent nuclear weapons and materials from coming into the hands of terrorists and being used against us or anywhere in the world, for that matter. But to prosecute this war, we will learn from history. As a result of our comprehensive review, American strategy in Afghanistan and South Asia will change dramatically in the following ways. A core pillar of our new strategy is a shift from a time-based approach to one based on conditions. I've said it many times how counterproductive it is for the United States to announce in advance the dates we intend to begin or end military options. We will not talk about numbers of troops or our plans for further military activities. Conditions on the ground, our stand. But nobody knows if or when that will ever happen. America will continue its support for the Afghan government and the Afghan military as they confront the Taliban in the field. Ultimately, it is up to the people of Afghanistan to take ownership of their future, to govern their society, and to achieve an everlasting peace. We are a partner and a friend, but we will not dictate to the Afghan people how to live or how to govern their own complex society. We are not nation building again. We are killing terrorists. The next pillar of our new strategy is to change the approach and how to deal with Pakistan. We can no longer be silent about Pakistan's safe havens for terrorist organizations, the Taliban, and other groups that pose a threat to the region and beyond. Pakistan has much to gain from partnering with our effort in Afghanistan. It has much to lose by continuing to harbor criminals and terrorists. In the past, Pakistan has been a valued partner. Our militaries have worked together against common enemies. The Pakistani people have suffered greatly from terrorism and extremism. We recognize those contributions and those sacrifices. But Pakistan has also sheltered the same organizations that try every single day to kill our people. We have been paying Pakistan billions and billions of dollars. At the same time, they are housing the very terrorists that we are fighting. But that will have to change, and that will change immediately. No partnership can survive a country's harboring of militants and terrorists who target U.S. service members and officials. It is time for Pakistan to demonstrate its commitment to civilization, order, and to peace. Another critical part of the South Asia strategy for America is to further develop its strategic partnership with India, the world's largest democracy and a key security and economic partner of the United States. We appreciate India's important contributions to stability in Afghanistan, but India makes billions of dollars in trade with the United States, and we want them to help us more with Afghanistan, especially in the area of economic assistance and development. We are committed to pursuing our shared objectives for peace and security in South Asia and the broader Indo-Pacific region. Finally, my administration will ensure that you, the brave defenders of the American people, will have the necessary tools and rules of engagement to make this strategy work and work effectively and work quickly. I have already lifted restrictions the previous administration placed on our warfighters that prevented the Secretary of Defense and our commanders in the field from fully and swiftly waging battle against the enemy. Micromanagement from Washington, D.C. does not win battles. They are won in the field, drawing upon the judgment and expertise of wartime commanders and frontline soldiers, acting in real time with real authority and with a clear mission to defeat the enemy. That's why we will also expand authority for American armed forces to target the terrorist and criminal networks that sow violence and chaos throughout Afghanistan. These killers need to know they have nowhere to hide, that no place is beyond the reach of American might and American arms. Retribution will be fast and powerful, as we lift restrictions and expand authorities in the field. We are already seeing dramatic results in the campaign to defeat ISIS, including the liberation of Mosul in Iraq. Since my preventing the Taliban from taking over Afghanistan and stopping mass terror attacks against America before they emerge. We will ask our NATO allies and global partners to support our new strategy with additional troop and funding increases in line with our own. We are confident they will. Since taking office, I have made clear that our allies and partners must contribute much more money to our collective defense, and they have done so. In this struggle, the heaviest burden will continue to be borne by the good people of Afghanistan and their courageous armed forces. As the Prime Minister of Afghanistan has promised, we are going to participate in economic development to help defray the cost of this war to us. Afghanistan is fighting to defend and secure their country against the same enemies who threaten us. The stronger the Afghan security forces become, the less we will have to do. Afghans will secure and build their own nation and define their own future. We want them to succeed, but we will no longer use American military might to construct democracies in faraway lands or try to rebuild other countries in our own image. Those days are now over. Instead, we will work with allies and partners to protect our shared interests. We are not asking others to change their way of life, but to pursue common share of the military, political, and economic burden. The American people expect to see real reforms, real progress, and real results. Our patience is not unlimited. We will keep our eyes wide open. In abiding by the oath I took on January 20th, I will remain steadfast in protecting American lives and American interests. In this effort, we will make common cause with any nation that chooses to stand and fight alongside us against this global threat. Terrorists, take heed. America will never let a missile defense. In every generation, we have faced down evil, and we have always prevailed. We lost a loved one, and every wounded warrior who shed their blood in defense of our great nation. With our resolve, we will ensure that your service and that your families will bring about the defeat of our enemies and the arrival of peace. We will push onward to victory with power in our hearts, courage in our soul, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, that's the end of the speech. I was having some massive problems during people. Well, not the page, but the Facebook broadcast. I'm putzing around on oh, boy. I need a better computer. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'm going to, well, get back into the show. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Radio, and we will be right back.
By Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplains.dailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Catholic, stupid bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe. Oh, that's why that mouse isn't working. Using the wrong mouse. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Let me see something. Oh, I'm trying to see what's going on. It's a pain in the ass. I did a test program and everything was good. Everything was good. But no, it all of a sudden went to hell. Today, with the live broadcast. I'm serious, it went great this weekend when I tested it. Everything was looking great. Oh, yeah, no problem. Go to do it live, and of course, it goes to shit. Murphy's Law. So, what I've done is, can't forget that one. Removing some of the graphics from the screen and seeing if that helps with the streaming of this. Hopefully that'll fix it. So, as I was talking before I put up the president speaking, Steve Bannon leaving was actually a very, very, very good thing for the administration. They now get to use him as a mouthpiece. He now gets to attack. You know, him sitting there, he wasn't really being that helpful behind this. Well, I'm not saying he wasn't being helpful, but he wasn't being able to be used to his full potential behind the scenes. He couldn't attack. He couldn't go after anybody because, well, he works at the White House. You have to have a certain decorum, and you can't do certain things. Otherwise, the liberals go nuts. But when it's vice versa, they're allowed to act like jackasses. But with that, I think it's a very good thing. I think we're going to see a little bit turn. I think Steve Bannon is going to hook up with this one gentleman, and there was rumors that he was talking with Steve Isles about starting a new news agency because Fox is going, well, it's going to shit. I mean, MSNBC has passed it in rating. The funny part is it doesn't look like MSNBC gained more viewers. Fox lost viewers. People stopped watching Fox. They got tired of pretty much the shit. They got tired of it. I mean, how many times do you want to hear them sounding like CNN and MSNBC? They don't understand it. They're suspending, everybody. All it takes is an accusation. And, oh, my God, we got to suspend them. We don't want to look bad. Accusations that 10 years ago, that shit pisses me off. And, all right, I'm a male. I have my opinion. I've talked to a lot of females pretty recently. And they all say the same thing. And they're getting tired of it because it's making... It puts a negative connotation on any sex accusation anymore because women are doing it just to be spiteful. Women are doing it for political purposes. They're getting paid off to do it. And it's damaging the whole environment is getting a negative connotation because of it. It's not that it's negative to make those accusations. Listen, if you're sexually harassed and the man did it, the man needs to be beat down. Plain and simple. I just realized something. My mic was never giving me a problem. It was my headset. Oh, boy. I must have sounded like a dumbass a couple times. So I think it's going to be a good thing. You're going to see Bannon, and he's back at Breitbart. He's going to go on the attack, and he's going to hit him hard. He's going to stand up for Trump because no one's really out there standing up for Trump. Nobody in the media. There's a couple of conservatives left at Fox that are willing to stand up with their morals and do what's right. Even Tucker lately has been a little wishy-washy, and it's been a little... So, we'll see how that goes. Let's see something. He's going to go on the attack. Seeing how the broadcast is going. So, we will see how it just goes. I think, like I said, it's going to be good. We need a new radio or news station. The ones we have out there are absolutely crap anymore. They're too paid off. Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch is pissed off and a sellout. And he's no better than CNN, MSNBC with his broadcast anymore. His two sons are liberal piece of trash. Yeah, I call it a liberal piece of trash. You know what? I'm getting tired of trying to be nice and trying to play fair while they play dirty pool. You know what? Fuck that. You want to go underhanded? I'll go underhanded. So it's just, hey, play like you're being played. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media.
Beware. The JerseyNews.com.
Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Cap for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be
Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to watch a broadcast, it's pretty easy. Just go to Reaver.one and click on the SHR Media button as I play with the damn board. There we go. I changed some things during the break, and I should know better than to do that. Oh, I'm such a dumbass sometimes. So I'm trying to figure out. Now, I've lost track on computer parts over time. And I know I'm going to have to get a better motherboard and CPU for the computer so I can handle better streaming. Thing is, I don't know which ones to get. That's the problem. And I'm like, damn it, I got to go and buy more RAM and all that shit. Oh, crap. So I'm looking, and for all I was reading is I need more core. The higher the core processors, I guess that's what it is, the better. So I'm looking at least a minimum of 4 core, a quad core. And I wish I knew what I know it's a FM2. Now, my other question is, FM2 motherboard can it handle FM2 plus? Is there a difference between the two? It's like, oh shit, now what's going on? Now all of a sudden Siri decides to pop up. I didn't touch my cell phone and Siri popped up and picked up on my conversation. Oh lordy, 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 I got gremlins. That and the other thing I want to try, I'm going to start looking around and seeing, even if I can upgrade, if I can get the same RAM that I'm using now, because the RAM's handling it. It's not using up all the RAM on my computer. So I got enough RAM, it's just the CPU processing is hurting big time. So hopefully I can upgrading, still get one that uses the same RAM that I'm using, that would be perfect. Keep the cost down. Keep the cost way down. Let me see. So, and with that, we're going to get back to the show and get going. I do apologize for the yammering and yammering, yammering and yammering and yammering. The only one thing that really makes me wonder with these is, okay, I think it's, what is in this computer? All right. This has got a 3.8 gigahertz. Okay. Well, should I replace it with a, another 3.8, but it's quad core, where I think this is a single core or some shit like that. See, that's stuff I don't know, and that's why I need to find someone that knows about computers inside and out. Oh, New Jersey, New Jersey, New Jersey. In California, so what's happened here is implementing a tax on all guns and ammunition. It's the equivalent of registering a fee to register to vote and saying the fee goes towards election integrity. Gun comrades at New Jersey's Advanced Media, NJ.com, won't be grilling him on that last question or even ask him for specifics on the gun sale tax proposal beyond fluff campaign rhetoric. Observer Media did get a campaign spokesman on the record stating that they didn't consider that revenue significant enough to factor into the $1.3 billion plan. That's $1.3 billion a year in taxes from... Oh my God, this guy that's an absolute pipe dream. Pipe dream galore. I mean, come on. They really think they're going to be able to raise that? People just go to other states, and what they're doing is, then they wonder. Then these dumbass politicians sit there and wonder, why is everybody leaving New Jersey? Why is everybody moving out? We don't understand. Why is everybody moving out of state? Why? We don't know why. Because you're taxing the people to death. You're taxing their constitutional right. I mean, come on. I mean, literally, you are taxing their constitutional right. I mean, it blows my mind. And only the Second Amendment would they think about taxing. Hang on. Could you actually imagine them proposing a tax for free speech? Fucking Supreme Court would shoot that down so fast it wouldn't be funny. And you know what? You want to know why Supreme Court doesn't want to touch a lot of the gun regulations? Because they would have to knock them down and embarrass all the liberals. So yeah, I don't see that happening anytime. Well, I see it happening in New Jersey, but no other state. And it doesn't raise the money that they think. Seattle, they won't show their figures because it's such a failure. They won't show their figures. That's what's funny. They won't show their figures. I just found something out about the computer. I can actually upgrade. It does take a FM Plus socket. Woohoo! Yay. Yay me. Oh boy, that's going to be one of those shows, isn't it? Oh, what is this witch's name? I can never remember this woman's name. I'm already putting up the other wife. Let's see. Protester responsible for organizing the riot at the University of California, Berkeley in February of 2017 claims that violence against the far right is not a crime. Farlaka, who belongs to By Any Means Necessary, a far-left group, is currently facing assault charges after she was caught on video assaulting a white supremacist during a July 2016 rally in Sacramento, California. The school teacher and her compatriots engaged in violent clashes against members of the far-right Traditional Workers' Party, which had a permit to march in the city. The violence between the two groups resulted in a number of assaults and multiple stabbings. In July 2017, police charged Farlaka with assault by means of force likely to inflict great bodily injury, participating in a riot, and inciting a riot. As reported by Huffington Post on Wednesday during her arraignment, Farlaka described her action as a form of self-defense and therefore not a crime. Standing up against fascism and the rise of Nazism and fascism in this country is not a crime. We have the right to defend yourself. Well, problem is you have to wait. It's funny, she's allowed to defend herself, but nobody else is allowed to defend themselves. She's the one attacking. And it's a total twist because she's not defending herself. She's being on the offensive. So it's like, damn, do these people not understand that? Do these people not understand that they're not defending? They are attacking? I mean, we're not talking rocket science here. We really aren't. All right. Previously justified her actions to Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera, folks. She stated that neo-Nazis were organizing to attack and kill us, so we have a right to self-defense. That is why we have to shut them down by any means necessary. Now, can you prove that they were out to kill you? I mean, you just can't. I mean, I can sit there and go and say everybody's out to kill me, so I have the right to go out and kill everybody. No, you have to prove it. They had their weapons. They were out there talking. You were the one out there. I mean, it's almost beyond dangerous for what the hell they're doing. I don't know what the hell I mean, they're not out for the best of the United States. The problem is they see their side getting defeated very easily, and they're getting violent. And Rush Limbaugh put it best. And I've talked to a lot of people, and they're saying the same thing. They could see a civil war at any moment. Any moment they could see the civil war breaking out because people are getting tired of the violence. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. We now have one person dead because of the violence. And it's going to get worse, people. That's not a good thing. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on S.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highlandsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cap for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its host, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reverbcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense. On to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded I hate it. Damn it, why does that look crooked? We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday. And respond by going on the offense. I would have responded with laughter. Listen, I'm not trying to undercut or underestimate the Democrats. They're going to have problems just getting enough to retake the majority, let alone take 80 seats. That is, oh my God, that's kind of funny. I don't know what the hell's going on. Oop. Whoa. They're going to have problems just getting enough to retake. Turned on. I thought I was plugged in to keep the sound off. Next year's midterm elections already have Democrats dreaming of winning a lot more than the 24 seats they need to retake the House majority. That's 24 seats they need to retake the House majority. They think they could take 80. That's 3 times more. We are building the largest battlefield in a decade, Tyler Law, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee spokesman, claimed. My question is, how are they going to finance that? How are they going to finance that? They're pretty much broke. I'm being serious. They're broke. Republicans have money out the ass right now, but nobody is donating to the Democrats. They're like $3 million in the hole. How do they play their tickets last year by picking Hillary Clinton for president and a GOP lawmaker for House? And as a Democrat talk about electoral battlefield, they are placing new emphasis on recruiting candidates who actually have served on a real one, veterans. That's actually kind of smart of them. But the one thing that they're kind of forgetting about is, I've heard this rhetoric from the Democrats before, Nancy Pelosi, how they're going to win all these seats. We're going to win all these seats back. We're going to take the seats back. We're taking control. Okay, there's those 23 districts, but there's other districts where Trump's leading in those districts. It could. Trying to see if this is working now. And veterans obviously have a huge amount of credibility, Law told Fox News. Credibility, and they aren't panicking. Instead, they're going on offense, and that's what they needed to do. They can't sit back and go, oh, we got this, no problem, we got it, don't worry. No, they need to go on the offense. Just 3 weeks before Election Day in 2016, Democrat House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi was on TV saying they would take the House back, win 30 seats, recalled Matt Gorman, Communication Director at the National Republican Congressional Committee. We're still in the majority. While Democrats want to flip the House, Republicans have designed Donald Trump for president and a Democratic lawmaker for Congress. Democrats may be starting at a disadvantage. The math is slanted against them in terms of how the districts are drawn, said Dave Baylor, election analyst at Real Clear Politics. A big part of the reason for that is gerrymandering, the political and often highly partisan process used by state legislators has been nothing but helpful. Now, that's pretty much what it is with these Republicans. Somebody's mad at Dana Perino. Dana Perino can go suck a... Dana Perino, I haven't liked her. She was pissed off when Jeb Bush, she is a Bush fanatic. I was a Bush fan. I'll admit it. I liked George Bush. He was given a pretty shitty hand when he got in office, but that shitty hand got him reelected. Because without it, there's no way he would have got reelected. I hate to put it that way, but George Bush. All right. I'm looking at all my feeds, and they're hit or miss. Video's kind of choppy. I think I found the CPU that I'm going to use. All right. Shut down the Facebook. Facebook's isn't running smooth enough. So they're going to be attacking the brain fart, the districting, and they're going to do everything they can to try to win through districts, not through message. It boggles my mind. It really does. It really does. Instead of trying to change the party to what America wants, they're going to try to change the district to win. It's like, what the hell? What is on their minds? Is it to actually govern or just be in power? And I think that pretty much answers it itself. They just want to be in power. That's all it is. That's all they care about is being in power. Nothing else. Nothing more. This one, I was like, holy shit. CNN commentator and Daily Beast columnist Matt Lewis says President Donald Trump's voters are asses and endorses full-throated attempt to primary Trump in 2020 with someone like Ben Sasse, a never-Trumper. What's going on? Exactly what's going on is the media is pushing and trying to make it sound like there's a big issue. There's not. The louder they scream, the louder they cry, the more I know he's doing the correct job. I'm being serious. The louder they scream on the media, the louder MSNBC and CNN screams, the louder these never-Trumpers scream, the more I know Trump is doing the right job. That's the way I see it. So when I sit there and see this idiot, this should not be a puncturing exercise, but rather a full-throated attempt to replace him as the nominee. Further, where you stand on this should be considered a defining moment. Personally, I would nominate Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska as the kind of person conservatives should back. That is the type that will sell us out in a heartbeat. Ben Sasse would sell us out for a piece of gum. Lewis says political professionals actually know more than the masses who sometimes are asses. Yeah, that's the way. He's trying to fluff his own ego up because political professionals actually know more than the masses. We are smarter than you. We are better than you. You know jack shit. You know how to do what? Yip. You know how to speak the talking points. You don't know what the people think. You don't know what the people are about, you elitist prick. I don't know. These idiots just never seem to cease to amaze me. Nope. Oh. Coming up on a break. Let's see. And what it is he wants the establishment back in charge. The establishment wants these idiots in charge so they can get their kickbacks, so they can get their money, so they can get their portfolios fluffed up, so that they can become richer on the backs of everybody else. These establishment conservatives, I don't consider conservatives. They are absolute.
Reaver Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver Common Sense Show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplains.dailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Cap, stupid bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sako as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Much Show with its host, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver Common Sense.
From public places, says a poll from Rasmussen's report. 90% of the 1,000 likely voters in the August 17th to the August 20th poll opposed the removal of Washington or Jefferson from Mount Rushmore monuments. As they were asked, 2 of the 4 presidents honored on Mount Rushmore were slave owners. Should that monument be closed or changed? When asked, now, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer were serious about this and thought this was a real problem. Why is it only coming up now? Why didn't they remove it or attempt to remove them when they had majority in the House, the Senate, and the President? Why didn't they do it then? Why did it take Nancy Pelosi 30 years of her being in office? Why? Why? Because it's not really an issue. They're making it issue. They're crying and whining, trying to make a political point. Nothing more, nothing less. Nobody in the country does not think this is an issue. Only a small portion does, because it's politically charged and it's being politically motivated by the left. Otherwise, nobody would really care about this. It's not an issue. And then I had a relative, well, you're worshiping a false idol, he said. I'm not worshiping anything. This is history. A lot of these monuments were put up over 100 years ago. There's places you can't take down a tree because some famous person farted on the fucking tree, and you can't take it down to build a house because of a historical sentiment. Where's the historical society fighting to keep all these up? They've been up for 100 years. They're a part of history. Statues themselves are a part of history, and now they're trying to take them down. And you notice the History Society is nowhere to be fucking found. Why? Because they don't have any balls to stand up for what's right. They only do it when it blocks, progress. Oh, you see, some Indian took a shit behind that tree, so we can't cut that tree down. Oh. I know, I went a little wild with that. Ooh. The background's going to move around. God damn it. I'm trying to... I'm getting bigger, I'm getting smaller. I just noticed when I put my arm up, all of a sudden it like disappears off the side of the screen here. Whoop! I guess I shouldn't do that. I just thought it was funny. I was trying to make it so whoop, you can see that. But I guess I'll have to play with that later. Nationwide, only 28% of likely voters say race relations will be helpful, by said the poll. What you think, just choose where there is none to distract. Because I find it funny. First it was, here comes Russia. Russia is coming. Russia is coming. Then it's all the North Korea. Now, then it was Nazis. And now it's, Confederate statues are taking over. It's all covering up because none of the stories before made any sense or anybody believed them. Do you hear about Russia anymore? Why? Because it was a failure. So they have to move on. They have to change the subject. They can't admit they were wrong. They just let it go into nothingness. Nothing. And about 6 months from now, you'll see Mueller come out and everybody like, oh, yeah, what happened with it? Oh, well, we found out there was nothing to it. Oh, well, that was a while ago. We don't give a shit. But if they came out now going, yeah, we're going to admit, no, we were wrong. You know what? I'd have more respect for the Democrats if they came out and said, you know what? We were outright wrong. We pushed it too far. We're sorry. We screwed up. I have more respect for somebody when they fuck up if they come in and apologize. I know they're not going to do it. They don't have the balls to do it. They ain't smart enough to do it. I mean, Jesus, it just... I mean, that's what this all is. They tried with Russia. That didn't work. They tried with North Korea. That didn't work. Now they're trying with Nazism. That's not working. What they're doing is pissing off the majority of America. When you have a rally in Boston for freedom of speech, and it gets shut down by Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and no violence actually happens because the rally they shut down because they didn't want any issue, which gave them a win. But then you had those idiots like going, shit, we came here for a fight. So what they do? They picked a fight with the police. They started chanting about the police. They attacked the police. Do you hear the left condemning the actions of Antifa? No. Do you hear the media nonstop going, they haven't condemned the actions of these violent left? No, they're actually sitting there making excuses. The media and Democrats are making excuses for the violence coming from Antifa. Does that tell you anything? And I don't think I'm the only one that sees this, because I hear other people neighbors, friends, and they're all saying the same thing. They see what the Democrats are silent on. They see how the Democrats are making excuses for the violence coming from Antifa. They understand that it's coming from the left itself. And don't you think that's going to play over into the elections? Yes, you're going to have your bi-coastal areas. But that's not big enough. That's not good enough. I think it was my mom, who's usually pretty negative, that, you know, everything's going the wrong way. She turned around and she's like, Democrat keeps it up. They're not even going to be a political party. They're not going to have any national wins. They're going to be losing. And I looked at my mom. I was like, you're finally seeing it? When my mom sees it, I'm not trying to knock my mom. She's a very intelligent woman. She can just be a little bit negative from time to time. That's not a bad thing. You know, I'm not knocking that. But when she's sitting there, you know, not being negative, going, damn, this could be very bad for the Democrats, I'm just like, bingo. Bingo, bongo, bongo. It's not good for them. They're in trouble. They're in desperate trouble. And they know it. That's why they're out there banging a gong saying they're going to win 100 seats. We're going to win 100 seats. They're not going to win. They're trying to convince people that things are better. They're hoping people are not paying attention. They're hoping that by them saying how great things are doing and that they're going to win all these seats, that people be like, oh, I guess they're doing better than I thought. Okay, I'll vote for them. People aren't doing that. People are going on the internet. People are looking all over different areas. That they didn't turn in, that was stolen. And this probe is widening. And you're probably aware that on Thursday, a grand jury indicted former Wasserman Schultz IT aide Imran Awan on 4 counts, felony accounts. Most agree that the charges, which include bank fraud, making false statements, and conspiracy, are just placeholders. The investigation into a much larger set of crimes is ongoing, and virtually impossible to find anyone who thinks these few meager charges will be the end of the story. According to the New York Post, the probe is widening, and the source indicates that investigators now suspect that Imran Awan and his allies were stealing government information, including classified information, and selling it to both Pakistan and Russian intelligence agencies. Oh, those pesky Russian hackers. No, there's no Russian hackers. It's just Democrats being careless. Federal authorities are investigating whether sensitive data was stolen from congressional office by several Pakistan-American tech staffers and sold to Pakistani and Russian intelligence, knowledgeable sources say. What started out 16 months ago as a scandal involving the alleged theft of computer equipment from Congress has turned into a national security investigation involving FBI surveillance of the suspect. And remember, this is where Debbie Wasserman Schultz threatened the chief of the Capitol Police. She threatened that there will be consequences. Yeah, there's consequences, and she's feeling it right now. I'm just... It couldn't happen to a better person. Investigators now suspect that sensitive U.S. government data, possibly including classified information, could have been compromised and may have been sold to hostile foreign governments that could use it to blackmail members of Congress and even put their lives at danger. This is a massive, massive scandal, a senior U.S. official familiar with the widening probe told the Post. This would explain how an inexperienced IT crew, whose member boasts such resume enhancer as McDonald's Fry Guy, could parlay their general lack of knowledge into a huge $4 million windfall over the last 10 years. The Democrats have hired the 5 suspects, apparently did a poor job vetting them. Awan's brother, Abid, had a rap sheet with multiple offenses, including a conviction for DWI a month before he was hired and filed for bankruptcy in 2012. Most had relatively little IT experience, yet they hauled in a combined $4 million plus over the past decade. One, a former McDonald's worker, was suddenly making as much as a chief of staff. These lawmakers allowed an inside threat to come into the House, the official charge. Computer equipment was stolen. Taxpayers were robbed hundreds of thousands of dollars, and sensitive data was compromised and possibly sold overseas. It certainly seems clear that there's more to this story than simple bank fraud and a few lies to federal investigators. The fact that Wasserman Schultz kept these people on her staff until they were arrested trying to flee the country, and then they started blackmailing her. Now, Wasserman Schultz has been trying to play the race card, claiming she refused that the federal government protects and covers for their own. I'd love to be wrong, but I'm not sure why we would think this is going to be any different, especially when it has become a potential to be the final nail in the Russian hacking canard. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here.
Can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Cap was stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sako as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. So, at the Lee Monument in Richmond, state and local officials need to get ahead of this problem so that we have the proper legal protections in place to allow for peaceful demonstrations without putting citizens and property at risk. Let me be clear, this executive order has nothing to do with infringement on the First Amendment rights. This is a temporary suspension issued with the singular purpose of creating false, fail-safe regulations to preserve the health and well-being of our citizens, ensuring that nothing like what occurred in Charlottesville happens again. The statement added, Governor McAuliffe will issue a related executive order convening a task force headed by Secretary of Public Safety and Homeland Security Brian Moran to study the safety concerns that arose from the event of August 12th. The Department of General Services will craft their new emergency regulations based on the recommendation of this new task force, which will be issued within 3 months. Citing the power invested in me as chief executive by Article 5 of the Constitution of Virginia and the laws of the Commonwealth, he ordered the following. No demonstration shall be authorized at the Lee Monument in the absence of a permit issued by the Department of General Services. The term demonstration includes demonstration, processions, picketing, speech-making, marching, vigils, and all other like forms of conduct that involve the communication or expression of views or grievance engaged in by one or more persons, the conduct of which is reasonably likely to draw a crowd or onlooker. This term includes the display of flags, banners, and other demonstrative designed to communicate a message. Sounds like he's limiting free speech because he don't know how to handle a problem. Sounds like he's limiting free speech because he put the police on standby and caused the death of a woman. The Department of General Services directed to promulgate emergency regulations by November 18, 2017 to cover any public use of the Lee Monument based upon the recommendations from this task force. Several constitutional law experts, none of whom would go on the record on such short notice to comment for fear of retribution. Executive Director of the Virginia ACLU for comment, but has not received any response, despite McGruff's assertion the executive order has nothing to do with infringing upon First Amendment rights. One constitutional law expert said that on the background that the executive order violates the First Amendment. A 90-day ban on expression here violates the First Amendment. This sort of restriction is subject to strict scrutiny, under which restriction is presumed unconstitutional. And the government must prove that it is narrowly tailored to achieve a complying public interest. This EU should fail that test. The constitutional law expert anticipates that any legal challenge to the executive order will likely end up in the Supreme Court. So, now we have attack on Second Amendment by liberals. They're now attacking the First Amendment. They've been trying to do that for a while. Again, I may not agree with what some people have to say, but they have the right to say it. I'm liberals, by all means, they're on their way to destroy the Constitution. They hate the Constitution. They're doing everything they can to destroy it, except when it helps them. Then they love the Constitution. When they want to spew their crap, they love the First Amendment. When anybody else wants to talk, oh, no, that's hate speech. We need to curb that. Oh, no, that violates this. We need to curb that. Piss me off when they have the right to say whatever they want and everybody else has to be limited. Maybe if this governor or that mayor, whichever one, didn't put the police into a stand down. Because now you have an officer that has come out, an anonymous source that on the police force, and was told to stand down. That was told to not arrest. They were told to push the protesters into the counter-protesters to cause the violence. I don't know. Sounds pretty plausible to me. I just... This Sue Pack, a housing attorney and the critical race studies fellow at the UCLA School of Law, Jobson noted, adding, the op-ed is chilling because it represents a significant strain in the legal community on campus that freedom of speech needs to be viewed in a social justice narrative. In the New York Times op-ed, the ACLU needs to rethink free speech. Park wrote, the American Civil Liberties Union has a long history of defending free First Amendment rights of groups on both the far left and far right. This commitment led to the organization to successfully sue the city of Charlottesville, Virginia last week on behalf of white supremacist rally organizer. The rally ended with a Nazi sympathizer plowing his car into a crowd, killing counter-protester and injuring many. After the ACLU was exonerated for its stance, it responded that preventing the government from controlling speech is absolutely necessary to the promotion of equality. Of course, that's true. The hope is that by successfully defending hate groups, its legal victories will fortify free speech rights across the board. A rising tide lifts all boats as it goes. The ACLU needs a more contextual, creative advocacy when it comes to how it defends the freedom of speech. The group should imagine a holistic picture of how speech rights are under attack right now, not focus on only First Amendment case law. It must research how new threats to speech are connected to one another and to right-wing power. Acknowledging how criminal law, voting laws, immigration law, election laws, and laws governing corporations can also curb expressions would help it develop better policy position. Park's view is standard critical race theory narrative that's what makes it so chilling. And all you have to do Just claim anything. What the heck? The heck went on here? It's weird. Now we gotta watch what I do. I just like shot the resize up big time. Ooh, I know what I did. All right. All right, where are we at? There we go. No, let me. Sorry. Jeff Flake. There must always be low-skilled immigration to the U.S. He's on his open borders kick again. And you would think, you would really wonder about him right now because, well, his numbers aren't doing that great. I mean, he's below 20% support. He's almost down to 10% support. The guy's not doing good, but yet he continues to run his mouth, and everything he's saying is pissing people off. You would think the guy would back off and say, you know what, maybe I'm wrong on this, and I need to rethink what I'm doing here. No, he just keeps going on about the same shit. Hand goes away. Sorry, I'm fascinated by this. Shows how stupid he is. Oh, crap. I knew something was... Oh, damn, I'm just having issue after issue. Oh, I'm glad this show's almost done. I've totally screwed this show. It just... So, fascism is a left-wing political philosophy, not right-wing. And we've been hearing that a lot lately. They're trying to make fascism a right-wing when it's been left-wing. You have Google redoing a definition to try to fit the narrative. And the clearest definition comes from the Urban Dictionary, believe it or not, and Webster. The Urban Dictionary states the following: fascism. The only official definition of fascism comes from Mussolini, the founder of fascism, in which he outlines 3 principles of the fascist philosophy. Everything in the state. The government is supreme and the country is all-encompassing, and all within it must conform to the ruling body, often a dictator. Nothing outside the state. The country must grow, and the implied goal of any fascist nation is the rule of the world, and have every human submit to the government. Nothing against the state. Any type of questioning the government is not to be tolerated. If you do not see things our way, you are wrong. And if you do not agree with the government, you cannot be allowed to live and taint the minds of the rest of the good citizens. Webster's definition of fascism: a political philosophy, movement, or regime, as that of the fasciitis, that exists and that exalts nations and often race above the individual, that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and a forcible suppression of opposition. To provide contrast, Google defines capitalism: an economic and political system in which countries' trade and industries are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by state. Keep in mind, these aren't sources particular to left or right. Now, the clearest destination I know between left and right is that the left leans more socialist, whereas the right leans more capitalistic. From this, we may confidently conclude that fascism, contrary to popular belief, is a fact, a left-wing political philosophy. So any person who favors capitalism to socialism cannot be considered fascist. Keep this in mind before you label everyone you dislike as fascist. With that, I'm going to wrap the show up. I'll be back tomorrow. Ouch. Come on. Dang software. You're listening to the Reaver Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and I will check you out tomorrow. You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.